This is Steve, an ordinary looking guy who, when he opens his folder, becomes a life coach. Now, before you hit the escape key or try to get rid of the browser, I'd just like you to stay here for a few minutes and watch what we're doing here, as I have a life coaching session with Steve as we try to address a few of the imbalances that are going on in my life right now.
Okay, Lawrence, tell us about some of the challenges that you're currently facing.
I don't have a social life. I have my 9-to-5 job. I have this blog that I do. I do freelance writing for a couple of different magazines. I've also got a fledgling music career beginning to get underway. And when I'm not working, I'm just vegetating. But it's only become clear to me really the past few months that what I want to do is to work for myself. I would love to have my own company employing other people.
But if I take you back to the very beginning, when you first started, there was one resource there that is stopping you from doing some other things within your life, which could be a limiting factor going forward.
Oh yeah, sure, that's much more fundamental. I have no time.
You've got all these things going on at the moment, and each one of them is creating a demand on this one asset.
Yeah.
And that one asset is not flexible. So you've got paid work, you've got your freelance stuff, and you've got your blog. I always like to see things as challenges rather than problems.
Yeah.
Problems are only a problem if you haven't got a solution. But I think with a challenge, it assumes you've always got a solution, and most people have. What I like to do is to break things down into blocks of 4. This block is very important, very urgent.
Okay, well, just to explain, we've got a sheet of paper here, square drawn on it, split into smaller squares, and so we're going to be prioritising tasks into those squares?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, prioritising the things that you do into whether they're very important and very urgent. There are things that are very important, but not urgent.
Okay.
Yeah. Down here we've got things that are very urgent, but not important. And here we've got they're not urgent, and they're not important. Yeah.
Okay.
So work is very important, very urgent, but there might be some flexibility there. Yeah.
Yeah.
What else is very important, very urgent for you? You absolutely can't do without it. It has to be done.
I really don't know. There's not a huge amount to my life, you know. Day to day, what I actually go through in my life, we saw it on the other page. That's pretty much it.
Okay. So would some of the other things though fall into, for example, very important but not urgent?
Okay, very important and not urgent. For me, are things such as buying a house and the attendant mortgage.
Yep.
Family, children. Having some rest and relaxation, I think, actually building that in and making sure that I stick to it.
Do you use a diary or some kind of time management system?
Yeah.
So do you diarise all your work stuff?
Yeah, that's why my diary is just a work diary.
Right. Would or do you block in time for R&R?
No.
If you carry on as you are and you don't fit R&R in, and you continue to sort of keep looking at your work folder and it's piling up, and you continue to spend all your time, you know, with work, your journalism, your blog, and so forth. What will be the consequences to you over the short and medium term?
Short term, I think there might be a gain, because I think I might get a few projects done.
Right.
Medium term, I know I'm just going to knacker myself.
Yeah.
One of the things I know, suffering with anxiety and clinical depression, is that when I become really exhausted, I can't do anything, and I'm forced into taking 2-3 weeks off, without trying to take the piss with my statutory sick leave. I will take 2 to 3 weeks off, whereas in fact medically, having spoken to my GP on a number of occasions, I should probably be taking about 6 weeks off to recover.
Mm. So knowing that there are some severe consequences, you know what's coming next. How soon do you really need to do something?
Okay.
I mean, another way of putting that is, you said about your work folder being full.
Yeah.
You could apply this very same principle to everything that was in your work folder. Yeah. Is everything in that folder very urgent and very important?
Or all of my work.
Or chores and things like that?
Yeah.
Could some of them end up down here being not that important, not that urgent?
Oh, I'm sure it could.
So what would be wrong in applying those principles that you use to organising your work life, to organising your well-being? How could you sort of migrate those principles across to make it work for you? If you don't get yourself some R&R and your well-being deteriorates and continues to deteriorate, that's probably a more important thing to look after than some of the work that you've got in your work folder that could be done tomorrow. Would that be fair to say?
I think so.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's about priorities, isn't it? And keeping a balance between those priorities. And the things that you would like to do but currently can't do, could you tell me what they are again?
Yeah, it's socialising. I'm going to cringe at this right now. It's meeting women. I'm just terrible at it. I just don't do it. I shy away from it. I meet someone I like, I just freeze. I reckon the surest way of finding out if I like someone or not is whether or not I go quiet around them.
Because you don't strike me as that sort of shrinking violet.
Yeah.
You come across as very confident.
I'm task orientated.
Right.
So because I'm here and I know I'm doing something, I'm trying to work something out. I'm active and I'm engaged. If it's a social environment, I would also like to. I'd also like to meet someone and settle down and have a family at some point. Women, girlfriends that have just never really been on my agenda. I've been single and alone, most of my adult life. So that's a real aspiration as well.
Mm.
I also have the expectation of being left, of abandonment. It's pretty safe to say that I don't have great expectations for relationships with women. I don't see them succeeding. So on that front, I tend not to try to start with. But also, when I see someone I like, I'm also massively overcome with self-doubt. That I'm not good enough.
Right.
And that what I say or what I think is going to be risible.
So you worry that they might laugh at you and
laughter I can deal with.
Okay.
What I can't deal with is spite, backstabbing, breaking of trust. What I can't deal with is viciousness, with real cattiness. I can't deal with snide attitudes. There's a lot there I can't deal with, and I think that's all quite reasonable. I can't deal with those things. Why would anyone want to deal with them?
You know, I don't think you're unusual in that
No,
respect at all.
I seem to see it wherever I go.
Right.
In fact, yeah, it's a real truism that, you know, if you want to find the most damaged woman in the building, ask me which one I like. Day 2, we've been down to the beach, done some foraging today. We've cooked our forageables, or whatever the term is for it. We also had a circuit training session, a life coaching session, which you'll have just seen highlights of, and that's why I'm filming now, because I realised after reviewing it that it cut off. It didn't get to see the outcomes. Outcomes were that Steve always likes it to end a session with some specific targets to go out and hit afterwards. For me, quite simple. 2 that I've got to work on. This weekend, I'm going to go home. I'm going to make time in my diary. I'm going to block time in my diary for rest and relaxation. And I'm going to write down what it is I want to do with that rest and relaxation time. I'm not going to let anything permeate that. And then what I'll do is probably blog about it afterwards. And hopefully I won't use my rest and relaxation time to do blogging or work-related things. What I've also got to do, more importantly, is I've got to walk into a bar at some point quite soon, possibly this weekend, buy a coffee, go and speak to the first attractive girl that I find in there. Well, how hard can that be?